specializing in reprogramming the belief system, master relationship coach and communication expert, a mentor for many trainers, an entrepreneur coach, advisor of educational institutions, director of group of schools, program quality director at Toastmasters International, and today's keynote speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Joy B. Hans. Give a round of applause. Stage is all yours, Sergi.
Thank you. You just scared me with all that elaborate introduction, but that was very kind of you. Thanks a lot. So I hope I'm audible because I know I'm visible and all of you are able to hear me loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for all the amazing thumbs up. So hi everybody, I'm Toastmaster Joy and I hope we have an amazing 45 minutes of the education session, which I hope is not one-sided. And after that, some questions. If you have any questions, you can note them. You can interrupt me in the middle. I have no objections to that because I'm not a tape recorder that if I have to play, I have to pause and again start from anywhere. So you can interrupt me whenever you want in the middle. So let's have an amazing session. So before we begin, a question that my mentor asked me long back and I did not have the right answer. This is the same question that I would like to ask you. And my mentor had asked me this question like 5 years ago. He asked me, why do you deliver a speech? And my answer to him was because I want to do this, because I want to do this, and I want to improve my communication and all gyan I gave him. He said, I get that. But for whom do you actually write a speech? Is the question that he asked me. Would anyone of you like to take a just wild pet, tame any guess of why do you think for who the speech actually is? Who is the central person in your speech? Any thought? You can put it in the chat if you don't want to speak or you. Audience, amazing. Thank you, Akshay. I like this gentleman already, Akshay Jain. Thank you. It is the central person in every speech is the audience. It means you just don't write for yourself. मुझे मजे करना है इसीलिए speech नहीं देना है. And when I'm writing a speech, it has, people are giving me 7 minutes. And for example, right now, 28 of you are giving me 45 minutes. So I better make it good. Otherwise, you are going to be sulky. आज नींद में भी मुझे गालियां दोगे और सपने में सब आओगे. So I better do a good job. So when you're taking those 7 minutes of audience, especially during a contest, please remember the central person or the main reason why you're giving a speech is not just you. You want to share something that is amazing, but it is end of the day the audience. So let's get going. Thank you. So I had told my mentor at that point of time 5 years ago that it is just me, but that was not right. So today, the way I'm going to share this with you is some of the elements you might not understand and some of them you might, because I'm a psychologist. So I will be coming from that particular angle when I'm dealing with things. So it might be like, kya bol raha hai aadmi, but just bear with me. You might get it at the end. And it had helped me in my first attempt to reach eloquence in the first attempt itself when I had given a speech, because it worked. Over there, it didn't work somehow, but theek hai. In your first attempt, if you end up reaching the district stage, pretty decent run. So let's begin. The first question that I would like all of you to ask yourself is, whenever you're going to write a speech, is what is my key intent of writing this speech? मैं ये speech क्यों दे रहा हूँ? If I'm sharing my message with this world, why am I sharing this message? Just say, kyun? What is the key purpose behind it? Some of us will tell our love story, or some of us will say our wife stories. People are sick and tired of listening wife stories in Toastmasters. Everybody keeps on chanting the same stupid speeches. And if I'm one of the judges, I really, with the first 30 seconds, I'll be like, aur ek aa gaya, dukhi pati. And it's like really stressful for me as a judge. So whenever you're giving a speech, ask yourself this one question, even before you start writing your speech. Kyun? The moment you get this answer is when you will move ahead for the next steps. But if you do not have a clarity, what is your key intent of sharing it? So you might say, I just want to share my failure story with people. Great, you got the answer, lovely. The next question you would immediately ask yourself, that would end up becoming your central idea. So the next question you would ask is, if I share this with my club people or with my area folks or with my division folks or district folks, what would happen? क्या होगा इससे? क्या 50 लोगों ने अपने दुखी पति स्टोरीज नहीं सुनाई है? मैं क्यों फिर से सुना रहा हूँ? Example. Or if I share this failure story, we have heard so many of them before already. What would happen? The second most important question that you would ask yourself is this. Very simple, very straightforward question, no nonsense. So if you have an answer for this one, only then move ahead in writing your speech. अगर आपको इन दोनों के आंसर नहीं मिलते हैं, first get these two answers. And this is your central idea. And this is the key takeaway for the audience. Because when an audience come and give you those 7 minutes, they should go away with something. आप उनको खाली हाथ नहीं भेज सकते हो. It is your responsibility as a Toastmaster, not just an ordinary speaker. You are a Toastmaster. To give them some takeaway, especially when you're doing an ISC. It is not hard and fast कि आप करो, पर अगर आप करो, you are adding some credibility onto it. Otherwise, you आप आए और चले गए. After the speech, I will not even remember who said what. कौन था वो second speaker? Sometimes judges will forget you as a speaker. It has happened with me also. When my score is tied and I'm like confused, these two have got 22, Mohsin और अक्षय को 22 आया है, और ये अक्षय कौन था? Mohsin, I remember. What did Akshay say? Akshay is an example. Okay, don't get offended. You're first on my screen, so I'm using your name. So that is the reason you must have these two answers before you even begin. Now, the moment you have got answers to these two questions is the time when you will move ahead to the next most important question, and that is understanding the ballot. Because I, as a mentor, always see you have a story, amazing. You have a central idea, amazing. You will give me a takeaway message, good. But if it is not written according to the ballot, then there is a trouble in it. Because you might cry for all the 7 minutes during your speech. The judges are not going to get moved because they will only mark you according to the ballot. And if you haven't seen the ballot, niche dekhiye, content is 50 points, your delivery is 30, and your language is 20 only. So there are 7 important things, and this is nothing but CC1 to CC6 basically. If you look at this, the first thing that you're going to do is have a very, very strong, clear opening. And this is a place within the first 15 to 30 seconds, I personally believe as a Toastmaster or as a speaker as well, is that within the first 15 or 30 seconds, if you're not able to grab the attention of the audience, then you have already lost them. Especially when you're in a digital platform, jahan pe you don't even know what they're doing. Their cameras are turned off. They might be chatting on their phone or doing something else or watching some YouTube reels. You don't even know what they're doing. So it is very, very important for you to grab their attention within the first 15 to 30 seconds. If you don't do that, you would have ideally lost the audience. And especially if this audience is judging you and you lose him within the first 15 to 30 seconds, then it's a big trouble for you during the contest. You will be sulky later and it's not going to help you. So how are you going to open? There are lots of techniques which you can have for opening. You can crack a joke, you can startle people, you can come with facts. If you notice, Mohammed Khatani comes and says, do you know chocolate kills more people than smoking? That was crazy fact. I didn't even know. And then he said, I made it up. But he got my attention. So do anything you want, but get the attention of the audience, especially when you're in a digital platform. It is tough to get people's attention. So did you notice our world champion, what he did? He came at the bottom of the screen and did all this overaction, and then he won the world championship last year. He did that. He used the screen very wisely and he got people's attention the moment he started with a bang. Please work on this. And this is your first impression on everybody who's listening to you. The second most important thing is a clear structure. OBC is not other backward class. It is opening, body, and conclusion. So you need to have a very clear structure in your speech. If the audience is a bit confused, कि आप कर क्या रहे हो? You gave an opening, you gave a speech title, and the audience is trying to connect your opening with the speech title, and then they're connecting your story with the speech title, and then you conclude, and they're like, he said this in the title, and then he said this in the conclusion, and oh Lord, what just happened? And I have seen speeches like this. I have given also speeches like this, believe me, in the initial stages, because I used to think I just dropped down from heaven directly, because I was a public speaker for 10 years, even before I became a Toastmaster. So mujhe lagta tha ki I'm just God next to God. But then my mentor came in front of me and he said, beta, idhar aao baju, gaadi side mein lo. And he gave me chalans left, right, center. Everybody appreciated me. I was the best speaker, but he gave me gyan for 2 hours after the meeting because it was horrible, my speech. because I didn't have a clear structure. I would just say whatever I wanted, and I'm a good storyteller, so people would just think it's an amazing speech. But the judges don't work like that. Audience might think you're a winner, but the judges won't if you don't have the second most important thing, the OBC in your speech. That's the opening, body, and conclusion. The third most important thing is a very, very clear message, single message from the beginning till the end. If you are having, for example, you are telling a story, and in this story you are giving 2 to 3 examples, all the 3 examples should again have an OBC in it if possible, and they should all weave into the main story. If it is in a chronological order, the way past, present, future, that's a formula that we use, or I was like this and I am like this and I want to be like this, or this is what happened and this is where I am today. You're taking the audience from point A to point B with you. If they're not moving from point A to point B with you, then there's a trouble. The visualization that I usually give to my mentees is, you are a Volvo bus driver traveling from Mumbai to Hyderabad. And there are right now around 30 people, 29 people sitting in that bus, and I'm the driver of the bus. Now, when I'm driving, everybody should travel with me to Hyderabad. They might reach Hyderabad, but in the middle, they might get lost कि आप लेके कहाँ जा रहे हो. But if you are giving them Hyderabad 50 kilometer, Hyderabad 100 kilometer, Hyderabad 200 kilometers, Hyderabad, they know that they are on the right path. Those milestones are your examples and illustrations and anecdotes that come in the middle. And each and every one of them should be synced. Imagine suddenly in the middle, the signage says 20 kilometers to Vellore, and you are like, oh Lord, what just happened? मैं तो हैदराबाद जा रहा था. Am I on the right track? Google निकालो फटाफट, क्या हुआ यहाँ पे? Just the signage went missing. You are on the right track only, but वो signpost missing है. So you as an audience get confused. The driver knows. आप driver को बाबू वेल्लोर बता रहा है. Yes sir, वेल्लोर हैदराबाद से 40 किलोमीटर पहले आता है. It is not written Hyderabad. The audience should not feel like that with you. Your message should be clear. When they are sitting in a bus with you, you make them sit in Mumbai. They come with all of you to Hyderabad straight. All of them come travel with you. If they feel lost in the middle, then you do not have a single message. And it is super important for you. The next most important style is the delivery style. I personally believe that this is my personal belief. You might disagree to this, and completely okay. I believe that everybody has their own unique style, and you should go with your own style. I do not recommend people copying people. For example, you would have heard some amazing speakers. For some examples, I'd like to give you. If you look at Pratima Madhi Reddy, she's an amazing speaker, and she has her own calmness and serenity in her. If I try that, it'll not work with me, because I'm an overaction Punjabi and I have to do the overaction to give a speech. If I try to be like Pratima, calm, composed, serene, it's not going to work. There is an amazing speaker, Mr. Arvind, DTM Arvind, our past district director. You would have seen him also. When he speaks, his language is like OMG. I will have to take another birth to speak like that. If I try to copy all his language, flory language, and I try to put his accent, it's not going to work for me. It will not work, because I am joy, and joy has to be joy. In Toastmasters, we don't copy people. We are original. So Akshay is Akshay, Vrinda is Vrinda, Sudha is Sudha, and Vijaya is Vijaya. So if you are delivering it in your own style, great job. As a judge, I like, because that is what makes you different from the rest of the speakers. I have seen a lot of people doing a lot of anecdotes and doing all this. उनको लगता है कि हंगामा करने से स्पीच अच्छी हो जाएगी. 30 मार्क है हंगामा करने के, नोटिस 50 और 70 मार्क हंगामा करने के नहीं है. A lot of people do a lot of overaction, 20 props in the speech. They think 20 props will make me win the contest. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Just because the last year someone used 6 props and won, you don't get 7 props in the next contest. You have to bring your own persona. The next is stage choreography. This is on which I really work. Super duper important. Now in stage choreography, you would have heard me. You would have seen their writing GEM, and you might be wondering, "Ye kya gems bech rahe bhai sahab?" No, GEM is nothing but your gestures, your expressions, and your body movements. Very important in a speech. You won't believe, my mentees who are giving ISC have already finished their speeches in December, and their stage choreography will be finished by Jan. When they come for division contest, they even how many times they're going to pause and which hand will go, how much also is choreographed by me. So they don't like me at all. मैं बहुत खड़ूस हूँ. If they do not submit their speeches by December 31st, I do not even mentor them. I am like that, because everything has to go in a speech. It's a prepared speech. It's not a table topic. Prepared speech. I would like you to go and watch Dhananjaya's speech Look at his body language. Every step that he took was calculated, not even one. How did he lift the rose was also calculated. There's another gentleman who speaks the tire that changed me. He will do sound. Look at that gentleman. Every gesture is calculated. Even that sound is calculated. As a international speaker, if you want to go to international level, you will have to be very clear with your gestures. You will have to get a mentor who can mentor you on your body language, your expressions, and your movements. Some of us have very animated faces and some of us have constipated faces. So both of them are troublesome in a speech. You have to have a constipated face when it's needed, and you need to have an animated face when it's needed. पूरी speech animated face में दोगे तो लोगों को लगेगा HSC दे रहा है, ऐसे नहीं दे रहा है. So you will have to work with a mentor who will help you in all these three. How much should you move, especially in a digital space? Super important. So this is known as stage choreography. Very, very important in your speech. Get a mentor who can help you. The next is having a very clear voice modulation. And there are some Toastmasters who are just next level. One is Koka Prasad. People whom I really respect with voice modulation is Koka Prasad. I do not know whether you know him. Mr. Arvind is one such gentleman who is amazing. Stage choreography, nobody can beat brilliant. Have you seen how brilliant delivers? When he's on the stage, you just look at him. You don't even care what he's speaking. You just want to look at brilliant because he's that good in his body language, expression, gestures, and movement. He's just good. Nobody can beat him. Voice modulation, two people you should definitely follow is one Mr. Arvind and one Koka Prasad. These two are legends in voice modulation. I've never seen anybody modulate better than these two gentlemen. They are the best. And there is one lady in Hyderabad. She's in US right now. She was our past area director. Ma'am, I always forget her name, Ma'am Sarita or Ma'am Sabita. She is one of the finest modulators. You need to have a clear modulation, and PAT is nothing but your pauses. How much should you pause while speaking? Your pauses are important. You need to know how much to pause while making points. And sometimes you just need to rush through. The next A is nothing but your articulation, and T is your tone. Many speakers do not change their tone. They will just go in the same monotonous tone. Now, this is an educational session, so I have to use this tone. If you hear my speeches are not like this. I'm pretty animated during my speeches. So you have to have a very clear formula for your modulation. These are the places where I'm going to take pauses because these are the places where my central idea is coming, or where my main punch is coming, or where my main line is coming. So I am going to give a pause for the audience to wait for me to speak. Did you get that? You were like, kya hua is aadmi ko? So I want you to get that from the audience. Kya hua isko? Suddenly, why did Akshay pause? He paused because he's going to give you now the main stuff. And right after the main stuff also, if you can pause, give a chotu pause, it really works. Next is articulation. A lot of us have a lot of MTI. It does not have a lot of weightage, but yes, 20 marks hai. Please remember, club contests mein chal jayega. Area contest bhi chal jayega. The moment you hit division and district, now this is a place where your mistakes will make you lose. So when you reach a district platform, please remember the ballot works in the reverse way. You all start at 100. You don't start at 0. With every mistake, your marks get deducted. I personally do that, and I've seen a lot of senior judges doing the same. It's like a Formula 1 race car. Her turn pe 1 second ka loss, you lost the formula. Others are not, while turning, they're turning with the 1 second ki speed. At the end, you are 30 seconds behind everybody because there were 30 turns and apne 30 second delay kar diya, haar gaye race. Because district conference is like a Formula 1 race car where everybody is a champion. वहां आपको किसी को हराना नहीं है, वहां आपको खुद को हराना है. Means you should not have any error, and most of the errors come over here in the last two, in your gestures, expressions and body movements, and in your pauses, articulation and tone. अगर इन दोनों चीजों को आपने master कर लिया, आपके chances to win a district or a conference and a division contest is very high. This is one area which most Toastmasters will neglect. Okay, I had kept some chotu videos for you over here just to, I knew this will be gyan for 15 seconds, 15 minutes, and some of you might have yawned behind your turn cameras or would have turned off the camera and yawned, Ammal, dinner ke baad uncle ko bula liya aapne. So that's the reason I kept something interesting for you. I would like you to have a look at this. The first one is about opening. So I will just play it. I hope it plays. And okay, I have to share sound as well. Okay, when I'm enjoying, I will do this. And a lot of people say, "Ga kyun rahe ho?" It means I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So this is the audience and the judges waiting for you to come and deliver. Look at their faces. So they are just waiting. Your name has been announced by the toll. Here you come with your introduction. When you come, everybody should look at you this way. They should say, "Oh my God, Akshay." सुनना पड़ेगा भाई इसको. And now Akshay came, and Akshay is going to speak his first line, and everybody is like spellbound. And Akshay got into his body. Opening हो गई है, body में घुस गया, ज़्यादा से लग गया. ये है सही मतलब. Now, I like this opening a lot. I have used this in a lot of trainings also. I just like the way he walks in and comes in. Everybody is eagerly waiting for Akshay to come and deliver. And everybody is excited. मैं अपनी जिंदगी के 7 मिनट दे रहा हूँ अक्षय को. And Akshay आता है and hello everybody, good morning. And सब बोलते किसको 7 मिनट गए जिंदगी के. When you walk into those 7 minutes, they should be like, everybody should be looking at you within the first 15 to 20 seconds. If you can do that magic, you have already won half the battle, because what's well begun is already half done. Judges will have that huge smile on their face, and audience is like, you're a man, worth it. सुनना है इस बंदे को. Can you do that? So इसके लिए दो चीजें काम आती हैं. पहला आपका speech title, and then the next when you begin. I have seen some world champions using an amazing trick. They would just stand on the stage, look at everybody, and they would not start. And I have used this. It really works. Digital stage में काम नहीं करता है, क्योंकि digital stage में आप किसको देखोगे. But if you're in a real stage, try this out. Go on the stage, look at everybody from the left to the right, and just smile and tell them, हाँ मैं खड़ा हूँ यहाँ पे, पता है मुझे, बैठो चुपचाप, 7 मिनट मेरे ही है. That feeling, when it comes out of you, look at most world champions, they will stand on the stage and look at everybody. It is possible on a real stage, but in a digital stage, you can't stretch it. But yes, you can do it. You can look at everybody. You can pretend that you're looking at everybody on the stage like this and just smile and say, and then begin. You can try it out, whatever you want to. I personally do it. I would not suggest all of you to do it, क्योंकि अगर आप में ठहराव नहीं है तो मुश्किल है. But God bless you. The second thing is your structure. There is another amazing illustration over here. You might find this funny, but I just want to share this with you. Now your speech is like this. Every example should be lined by you clearly. मेरे पास ये 4 ही examples हैं. बस इन 4 examples को जब मैं बोलूंगा, these are spread out like this. I will put subplots, plots on it, but the audience and the judges will be able to separate everybody and clearly say, this is the opening, this is the body, this is the conclusion. They should be able to see every piece separately, even though it is together. Now, if you can do a magic like this, you have a perfect structure. This is super important for you to know कि structure में बहुत सारे लोग मार खा जाते हैं अपनी story में. So I always suggest people, now look at this. After looking at this design, you can immediately go and replicate this design. So if after the speech, the speakers can go home and repeat your speech, you have done an amazing job. आपने बहुत प्यारा structure, simple structure डाला था, simple central idea डाला था. That's the reason it easily happened. We'll move to the next one. Now this is another example that I would like to use. I'm just giving you some visuals because जितना भी मैंने ज्ञान दिया याद नहीं रहेगा आपको. Visuals याद रहेंगे because our brain remembers images and videos. If I say apple, your brain will not see APPLE. It will see a red apple. If I say banana, you will see a banana. Yellow, green, purple, I don't know which one. You will not see BANA. So whatever gyan I'm giving you is not going to stay here. But this example will stay. I will also share this entire PPT with Vrinda. You can take it from her if you want. Now, there's another example which I really like. This is having a clear message. I hope the sound is clear because you need to hear that sound. You're giving a speech. Your central idea will come just like this in a small sound. That's the central idea. Now, these are all the audience and the judges. That's the first audience. He got the idea. The next audience got it. The third audience, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the ninth. It went till the judge, and the judge also understood. It means you have got the central idea perfectly right. When everybody in the hall gets the same message, it's tough. But if you can do this magic happen, and if you can make this work, you have got a perfect central idea. 10 people should not be thinking ki, haan, main aise karunga, main waise karunga. It should weave in such a beautiful way that no matter how many people are sitting over there, they should all get the same message. It is challenging. Yes, I failed in this. That's the reason eloquence mein main top 3 mein nahi tha. I was not able to get the central idea out. I learned it later from a mentor, but it is super important. If you can do it, Nobody can, you are unbeatable. The next is having your own personal style. I love this gentleman because you look at all the motivational speakers across the globe, वो बहुत सूट वूट पहन के हीरो बनते हैं, but this gentleman
You do this much.
comes out of the world,
Forget
he
about
sits
what
the
you
way
want
he
in the
wants,
world,
he delivers the way he wants.
from yourself, from the
He
people,
just,
from the world.
he doesn't care about
What
his
you
Indian
want,
accent.
drop it.
वो अपने Indian
It
accent में बात करते हैं.
establishes that
And he's better than
what
90%
happens
of the
within you
motivational
is
speakers we
determined
have
by you,
outside. He doesn't
nobody
care.
else but you. Just do this one thing, naturally you will choose to become pleasant. When you're very pleasant, still 10,000 things have not happened in my life. So what? With a joyful zest, I'll go after it.
When you accept yourself the way you are, magic actually happens. Most of us are trying to be someone else, and that is the place where we fail. अगर आप विशाल हो तो विशाल ही रहो. Don't try to be Vrinda or Joy. अगर आप Vrinda हो तो Vrinda ही रहो. You should be you on the stage. I want to see you. I don't want to see a copycat. I've seen thousands of them outside. If you're fake, people can catch you. So don't fake. The next very important one, stage choreography, which I just said. I just love this example. You would have all seen this before. So you are on a digital stage. How much will you move on the stage when you're doing your example? Is it this much? Or is it this much? Or is it going to be this much? Please, so that people can't even see you. So how are you going to use your stage is super important, especially on a digital platform. It is urgent. Did you notice I'm using a white wall behind me intentionally? This is the only white wall I have in my entire house. And there's a tube light right across me. Over here, I made it my own setup. And everything is put in a very systematic way so that you see me exactly the way you want to see me. No glitches in that. And as a Toastmaster and as a public speaker, super important for you to understand the sensitivity that when people are looking at you, they should not struggle to understand your overall body movements, your expressions, your gestures. They should get everything crystal clear. The last one is voice modulation. And this is one of my favorite examples. If you understand Hindi, you will get it. If you don't understand Hindi, God bless you. Look at this guy's voice. Insulting. Look at this voice.
अरे भाई अपने घर ले जाकर मैं तुम्हारे बाप को मुंह तोड़ जवाब देना चाहता हूँ.
Over smart voice.
मेरे बाप को मुंह तोड़ जवाब देने वाला मेरे सिवा कोई पैदा नहीं हुआ गोवर्धन सेठ, और वो जवाब मैं उन्हें देकर आ रहा हूँ. रही बात आपके घर चलने की, तो मैं जानता हूँ कि आप मुझ पर ये मेहरबानी क्यों कर रहे हैं. आपकी इकलौती बेटी है और आप उसकी फरमाइश पूरी करना चाहते हैं. मैं भी बिजनेसमैन का बेटा हूँ, अभी अभी समंदर छोड़ के आ रहा हूँ. और गोवर्धन सेठ, समंदर में तैरने वाले कुओं और तालाबों में डुबकियां नहीं लगाया करते. आई बात समझ में? नहीं, बात जरा ऊंचे लेवल की है. आइए मुंशी जी.
So I love this gentleman. He is not a star because of anything else. He's a star because of the voice that he has and the voice that he uses. That is the best thing about him. And no one can, the whole message, he did not even move. He only used his voice, and that's about it. And everything was done. Nothing was needed. No overaction, no drama, no theatrics. You see a lot of actors screaming at the top of their voices, making funny expressions like this. But this guy does not do anything. He just kills it with his voice. That is another important tool that you have in your hand. Now let's quickly move on. Nobody has any questions so far, and we are 31 extra person has joined. That's amazing. Now, where do you find a topic is one of the most common questions that I get from people every time. And that is the reason I have intentionally included it. Some of you will be like, kahan se laye topic aise, sabko weave karna hai, ye karna hai, all this is good, but where do I get my topic? And this is the trick that I personally use. This is from my NLP trainer. This is not from Toastmasters. It is from my NLP trainer who made me do a map. And we call this human map of people around me. He wanted me to understand how many communities I have around me and how many people I impact with my daily life just by being me. And that is the reason you will all find me coming out as a nice person, because when I did this activity, I understood that every word that I speak to people around me has an impact on them. And so does it for you also when you're speaking to people around you, and we never know who are these people around us. I use the same formula inside Toastmasters to find out speech titles. and my speech messages, and all my stories come from here. You won't believe, I had written all my 40 speeches to be a DTM within the first 1 year only. I just took 3 years to complete them because I had so many stories. I am still left with another 20 speeches, which I'm still giving to complete my second one. I'm almost at level 5 of my next path as well, because speeches ki kami nahi hai. And this is one trick and tool that I would like to give all of you. Please understand, you are the center of the universe. In Toastmasters, we do not talk of APJ Abdul Kalams and Gandhijis and Subhash Chandras. In Toastmasters, you are the central hero, and that's it. Finish. No Spider-Man, no Mr. What is his name? Doctor Strange. You are the hero in Toastmasters in every speech. If it is not your personal story, then there's a trouble. I do not want you to just rip off somebody else's content and speak to me. I want to hear you. So when Dipti is speaking, it is Dipti only. I want to know who Dipti is in her speech. So please remember, if the central figure in your speech or the main protagonist in your speech might not be you, but the main person who is delivering the speech is you. You are the central figure. And if you find out there are a lot of small communities or groups of people around you, all your speech titles are hidden here. All stories are hidden here. The most common gangs of people you have around you is your siblings, your family, your cousin, your parents. Your dad and mom will have some values. What are the 3 things that you love in your dad? That's a speech title. The 3 things that I've learned from my dad is this. What is the one amazing quality or one example? One of my speeches was that my dad would beat me whenever my dad would beat me, I'll sit on there was a mango tree near my house. I would go and sit on this, and my grandpa, who was around 60, he would climb that mango tree, counsel me on the top of the mango tree and bring me down. I can never forget this. And nobody will even imagine a story. You will not find this kind of a story anywhere, because it's a real story, my experience. When I delivered the speech, people were like, oh my God, that's an amazing speech. And the message of the speech was that when you talk, things happen. So my grandfather will speak to me on the mango tree, and things would happen. I would come down and I would just leave my house and sit on the mango tree because it was easy to climb. So I have amazing stories with my grandfather. With my grandma, she used to get, when I would go to the village and I would do all those stuff. That's amazing stories. Now, if you look on the right side, your teachers, some amazing examples with your teachers, with your friends, in your college, some of your hobbies, some amazing things some experiences that you have, like loss, failure. Pick up some top 5 emotions that you feel. Every emotion will have a story that you can experience in your own life, or you have seen someone experiencing around you. So your immediate family, your side family, your experiences, the left side is experiences, right side is external people. And the one at the bottom is stories that you have read, or illustrations, or experiences that you've had through books, eureka moments that you had a problem and then you saw a video on social media and it transformed you. You were down and depressed, and then you read this book written by Sarang, and then it changed your life completely. So all the topics are over here. If anybody has any question on this one, I'll just pause for 10 seconds. If anybody wants to ask me anything on this one, I'll pause and then I'll move on. It is easy to find a speech title, believe me. If you can't find, maybe offer for only 30 of you who are on this call, call me up, and within 5 minutes, we'll find a speech title and the entire story also for you. It is damn easy. It's not tough if you're not able to find a good speech for yourself. Okay, we are moving on. 30 seconds is up. Now the 6 questions, these are the questions I always ask my mentees to do. You found out a speech title, you found out a story. The first question that you will ask yourself, are you comfortable delivering this topic? I have seen a person who wanted to make a sensitive, this famous Toastmaster, I would not like to use his name. So he wanted to speak on gay rights, but he was not very comfortable speaking it. When he delivered it on a division stage, his area speech was like, wow. But because it was a great topic and it was a sensitive topic, he thought I will be able to do it, but he was not comfortable delivering it. He was so good in his area that everybody thought he will go till district, but he did not even make it to the podium finish. There were 4 speakers. He had the best delivery, but he was not comfortable delivering it. So nobody liked him because of that. अगर आप कंफर्टेबल नहीं है अपने टॉपिक के साथ, प्लीज चेंज इट, गो विद द नेक्स्ट स्पीच. Second most important question, will it suit the audience that I'm delivering to? Very, very important question. A lot of your speeches, the moment you give a class, everybody knows you in your club, whatever you do. So even if you leave the dots, people will be able to connect it. In your corporate organization, everybody knows you. So if you use some corporate jargon, your corporate employees will understand you. But in the area, nobody understands what you said. In the district, when you have a diverse crowd, everybody together and thousands of non-Toastmasters, it does not even work. You have to be very sensitive towards the audience. Will it suit the audience for whom you are writing this speech? If the answer is yes, please move on. The first, are you comfortable? The third is, can it be delivered online? There are some speeches which I personally feel are too animated or too emotional or too theatric that cannot be delivered online. Can you customize it to be delivered online? If the answer is yes, please move on. Now, the next thing is, do I have a strong story to support it? I have an idea. I think I can give it, but do I have a very strong, compelling story which can really carry my speech on it? If the answer is yes, please go on. Now, do you have some very good, credible illustrations and examples in your speech? If it is not just one story, will not work. That I once went to the college and there was a very beautiful girl and she told me, I see something in you. And the moment she said this to me, this happened to me. And you just keep on telling the same story and people are like, hua kya aapke saath uske baad mein? And they get lost. There should be some very credible examples in the story. And these examples are the first example to the third example, or the second example is point A to point B. आपको लोगों को point A से point B तक लेके जाना है, and you take them with your story through the examples. I hope you get that. The last and the most important, please get your speeches mentored and get the worst khadus mentor on the planet. The more khadus the mentor, the better for you, because he will rip off your speech completely. My mentor made me repeat my first 6 speeches more than 10 times. First 6 speeches I have given it 10 times, not each speech 10 times, total 10 times. He made me repeat them again and again. But what happened uske baad, I have been, I think, consistently best speaker in my club for over 5 years now. Agar maine speech di to main best speaker banta hi hu, because of that funny gentleman. He just would kill me. He would say, kya bakwas hai Joyce, sit down, kya tha ye? And I'm like, tu khush kab hoga yaar, tu meri bibi se bhi zyada khadus hai. Sorry for that example. But have a mentor and please get your speech mentored well in advance. Speech contest ke 3 din pehle mat aao kisi ke paas bhi. Don't go to Vishal 2 days before speech and say, Vishal bhai, speech mentor kar do. It does not work that way. You need to give them some time. They are also human beings. They need to go through your speech. So 6 questions that you will ask yourself. You can take a screenshot of this if you want to, or we are just moving on. And I think this is the last one. There are 2 more slides and we are done. 5 golden rules I've already given you. Be original. Identify your key message. Have your personal touch. I've already said that I will not do that. 1 golden rule which I learned from one of the world champions when he was giving training is, make your speech universal. Since you are a Mumbaiker, do not make especially when you're giving it in eloquence, for example, you reach till district, make your speech universal. The trouble with my speech was it was not universal when I gave it. It was very Indian centric. And that's the reason it killed me. So if your speech has a universal appeal, you will go places. If it is just not universal, then there's a trouble. The last is, understand the contest rules and ballot clearly. The last thing, I have taken a paid training from one of the world champions, and this is his formula. This is not my formula. So I learned this from him, and this is what really transformed me. This is your key nugget for today. And most of you know this gentleman. He said, bend more and pull less or push less. Anybody remembers who this world champion is? He won 3 years ago, and he gave the same speech twice in the finals. Anybody remembers who he is? If you don't remember, go and find out all the world champions. He's bald. He stays in Singapore. He's an Indian, and nobody in India likes him because he's too commercial. Okay, yes, exactly. So this is a formula which I've learned from him. I took a paid training for him. If you're a public speaker, you have to be serious about business. Don't creep about paying $45. You don't even want to know how much I paid to just get this stupid formula from him. The first thing when you're writing a speech is, what you should ask yourself these questions. What would you like your audience to feel when you're giving the speech? Do you want them to cry? Do you want them to feel guilty? Do you want them to feel sad? Do you want them to feel excited? What do you want them to feel in your opening? What do you want them to feel in your closing? What do you want to feel when you're talking to them about your mother? If you are not able to make them feel, they are not with you. You have to make them feel. And this thing is known as funda. I don't know whether my screen, now you can see it, because in some of the screens, this icon will be coming. The next, the most important thing, you need to give them that feeling, because स्टोरियां यहाँ बनती हैं. अगर उनके दिल को नहीं लगा तो स्टोरी बिकेगी नहीं. आपके दिल पे लगना है. Did you notice in every Indian ad there is a mother and a daughter or a son? हर ad में बच्चा घुसा देते हैं. उसका कुछ काम भी नहीं है, because Indians are emotional fools. They feel, and because they feel, they buy the product. उसमें बच्चा है, खरीद लो. You have to make them feel something. The next most important thing is, what do you want them to know that they already know? They know that they are not doing this, but you will again tell them, you will may help them realize something जो उन्होंने अभी तक नहीं किया. You want them to, what is the exact thing that you would like them to know first? And the next thing is, what would you like them to realize? You have to make them feel कि अगर तुमने सिर्फ ऐसा कर लिया होता तो ये problem solve हो जाती थी. So these are two very similar statements, but very different from each other. What would you want them to exactly think or know? आप उनको क्या सोचने पे मजबूर करोगे, क्या फील करने पे मजबूर करोगे, और क्या रियलाइज करवाओगे उनको. तीन इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें. The next is, what do you want them to do after your speech? And if they do this, what will they achieve? अगर ये पांचों चीजें आपने कवर कर दी, I bet you know you have an unbeatable speech. No one can beat you. Most keynote speeches are written on this only. The keynote speakers will make you feel something, they will make you think something, they will make you know something, they will make you realize something, and then they will tell you, if you would have done this, or if you can do this, this is what you will achieve, and your speech is over. And that's basically about it. If you have any questions, you can ask me. We are done. And luckily the power didn't go, so I can turn off my other screen. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And I hope this was helpful. And this is a completely different take on how to write a speech. If I confused you, I'm extremely sorry. I will share this PPT with Vrunda. You can take it from her. Did I confuse you, or Shalendra is like, क्या हुआ मेरे साथ 40 मिनट के अंदर में? Shalendra.
Joy, I have a question.
Yeah. We'll take your question after Shalendra. Shalendra just wanted to ask.
Okay,
तो विजय
sorry.
एक second दे दीजिए. Yeah, Shalendra, please. शैलेंद्र, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. So Vijay, you can go meanwhile.
Okay, my question is, I don't know if it is related to the speech or the judges. I just want a clarification on that.
Mhm.
What happens in a contest, basically I have seen, is the first speaker and the last speaker. There is always some kind of a transition laws, or I don't know what happens, but an impression is formed by the first speaker, and by the
Yes.
time you come decide this, or how do we correct this as a speaker ourselves, or what?
Okay, if you are an opening speaker, you are usually a benchmark speaker. Benchmark speaker वो है who will set the tone of the race. So if you are very good, most judges, which is not right, I'm telling you upfront right now, it is not correct, but most judges do this. They use the first speaker as a benchmark speaker. इसको हमने 5 दिए. अगर ये विजय से अच्छा है तो 6 देंगे, अगर खराब है तो 4 देंगे. So first speaker होने के advantage है. Mostly first speakers have a lot of advantage, which is not right, but many judges do that. If you are a judge, kindly don't do this. So if you're the first speaker, you really have, you know that you have to give in your 100%. You just can't turn back. आप जो भी लेकर आए हो, whether you're prepared or not, just go all in. आपके लिए बहुत जरूरी है. If you're the last speaker, the problem is people have already heard 5-6 speeches, especially if it's a club contest and 15 speeches हैं, तो आप सोच लो 10 तो बैलेट में ही 10 होती हैं. 15 स्पीकर में मैं दूसरे बैलेट पे पहुंच चुका हूं, and everybody is tired. And if you have the energy, please remember, in the end only your energy, your content, and will be able to save you. अगर आपका content is priceless, no matter if you're 25th speaker, people will listen to you. And second, if you can generate that energy which has been lost from the first speaker to the 5th speaker, you can bring it back again. वो मैंने आपको ओपनिंग बताई ना, आपके पहले 15 सेकंड है आपके पास सबको पकड़ने के लिए. यूज दैट हुक इन सच अ वे दैट एवरीबॉडी गेट्स ग्रैब टू यू. अगर आपने वो पहले 15 सेकंड में मैजिक कर दिया, then nobody will match you with the rest of them. But I'm sorry to say that many judges do this. ये एक fact है. A lot of you would have lost contests like this, and सारे judges की तरफ से मैं sorry बोलता हूँ, क्योंकि हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. That is the format of the contest. अभी कॉन्टेस्ट से लड़ना मत कि मेरे को सर्दी खांस जुकाम था जब आपने ड्रॉ फ्लॉट किया था. मेरा ड्रॉ फ्लॉट में 3 आया, मुझे नहीं लेना है. अब दोबारा से करो, वास्तु खराब था. डोंट डू दैट. ओके, शैलेंद्र विल गो टू यू, देन विल गो टू सुधा, देन विल गो टू रंगा, देन विल गो टू, oh Lord, Nashra. I hope I got it right. Shalendra.
So in this secret funda which you mentioned, so there is a very subtle difference between this uncover and notice, where you want
Yes.
them to know and then you want them to realize.
Yes.
So can you please elaborate a little more on this?
Okay. नो वो वाला पॉइंट है जहां पे आप लोगों को बताओगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल शैलेंद्र, आपको पता है कि आपकी स्माइल बहुत प्यारी है. दिस इज नो. अगर आप इस स्माइल को यूजुअली अपनी स्पीचेस पे यूज करेंगे ना, तो आप मार देंगे लोगों को. एंड प्लीज डोंट मिस यूज इट ऑन गर्ल्स. So did you notice I gave you no and I gave you realize. I made you realize how you can use it, but I told you what it is. So this is how you can use it. सब बहुत कम डिफरेंस है, पर बहुत डिफरेंस है. Knowing is just knowing, but आप इसको कहाँ कैसे इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, वो फॉर्मूला है जो आप उनको टेक अवे में दे रहे हो. So आप उनको रियलाइज करवाओगे कि अगर मैं तुम इसको करोगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो बोलता है ना कि बेंड मोर एंड पुल लेस, मतलब खींचो मत लोगों को और झुक जाओ, नम्र बनो. अगर ये करोगे तो आपकी मैरिज रिलेशनशिप सुपर्ब चलेगी. दिस इज व्हाट द मैसेज ही गिव्स. सो दिस इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दोस टू. अक्षय इज लाइक मस्त, मजा आ गया. थैंक्स अक्षय फॉर दैट स्माइल. ओके सुधा, वी आर कमिंग टू यू. थैंक यू शैलेंद्र.
Thank you so much, Joy. Basically, my question is about topic again. You mentioned how to select a topic.
Yeah.
So my challenge generally when I write speeches is you have a lot of ideas and you know where to start. But what is the speech? You don't know whether that is going to come out well. So sometimes what happens, like जो picture में होती है ना, वो कागज लेके फेंकना पड़ता है एक एक speech बना के.
Exactly.
वो वाली situation हो जाता है. तो I mean, what is it that should be there for you to feel that this is going to be that turnaround speech? Is there something with your experience?
Yes. So you have the same trouble which most of my creative mentees have. Most of my mentees who read a lot, who absorb a lot of content. Problem उनकी क्या है कि इतना विजडम होता है कि क्या मेरे पास तो 50 स्टोरियां, शेयर क्या करूं मैं. ये आपकी वाली प्रॉब्लम है. one of my mentees has this problem, बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम. हमेशा you won't believe she does not come to me with one speech. She will come to me with 3 or 4 speeches. मैं बोलता हूँ बेटा एक स्पीच लेकर आओ. मैं सारी स्पीचेस खोलने का ना तो मेरे पेशेंस है ना टाइम है. So now you will have to smartly pick. यहाँ पे मैं आपको कुछ अलग से नहीं बोलूंगा. I'll just ask you कि which is that one issue that you would like to take in front of that particular audience. So you can be one of those speakers who will deliver a different speech during a club contest in the area, a division and a district. You can have 4 speeches, and a lot of contestants have done this and won also contests because they have that variety. Even if they meet the repeat judges, the judges are like, wow, इसकी speech फिर अलग है, उसको extra brownie points मिल जाते हैं. ट्राई मत करना, मैं से बोल रहा हूँ. सो नाउ यू विल हैव टू नो कि इस ऑडियंस के सामने में कौन सा मैसेज बेस्ट मैसेज है. For my club, if I'm delivering, so these are the 3 or 4 main key ideas I have. Which of these ideas is best suited for my particular club? I'm going to give them this one. And for example, I'm going to speak to only women. So which is the speech that I should be delivering, which will really help women? For example, I'm going to speak to some senior folks, some senior citizens like Joy, who are corporate trainers and all pantalus who think they're too smart. If I'm speaking to those guys, what is that you will like to bring to us? You will come with your game A to us. You will not come with any other speech. So you will have to choose. Aapka problem kya hai? Problem of abundance hai aapka. It's not problem of lack. Many people over here will have a trouble कि topic ही नहीं मिल रहा है. आपका उल्टा है इनके साथ problem. So you will just have to go, pick one and just go with it. उससे आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. And maybe ask your mentor, अगर decent mentor है, go to him with 2-3 ideas. मेरे जैसे खड़ूस नहीं है तो शायद आपकी सारी स्पीचेस देख ले. बट ऑडियंस के हिसाब से आप अपनी टॉपिक ले लीजिए, उस वो वाली स्पीच. दैट्स द ओनली थिंग यू कैन डू. या रंगा.
Yeah, I think you sort of covered it in the funda, but still I want some little more clarity.
Yeah.
One side we are talking about messaging, another side we are also talking about personal stories. How do I avoid crossing that line that separates messaging and preaching.
Oh, lovely. Amazing. Thank you, Ranga. This is one of the best questions we got tonight, Ranga. Why मैं बोलता हूँ आपको? It becomes preaching when you keep on dragging your conclusion and you keep getting into the concluding part. अगर आपके सारे till that time you're telling them the story, it's not preaching. The moment you stop the story and give them the message, वहां से preaching start हो जाती है. If your end message is more than 30 or 45 seconds, it goes into preaching mode. And many people will give story for 2 minutes and then keep on preaching only. वो बताते कि मैंने ये किया तो मेरे साथ ये हो गया, फिर वो हो गया, and people are like बस कर तू भाई. So in 7 minutes, if 6.5 minutes or 6.45 तक आप story ही बोल सकते हो, keep them engrossed in stories. People come to listen stories, not preaching. Thank you for that question. Conclusion कड़क रखिए and story के साथ ही उसको weave करने की कोशिश कीजिए. Don't spoon feed people. I'm sure all of you have heard Aditya Maheshwaran. Aditya Maheshwaran एक बहुत प्यारी चीज बोली है. If the audience are not using their brain and you're spoon feeding them too much, you have lost your audience. Let them use their brain. So don't preach them. Story बोलो, उनको decode करने दो उसमें से. And वो तब होगा जब आप ये सारे के सारे जो मैंने आपको 6 steps दिए हैं ना, वो सब follow करोगे तो खुद decode कर लेंगे. So don't spoon feed them. Preaching happens when you spoon feed them. Okay, next we are going to Nashra. Thank you. That was amazing question, Ranga. Seriously. Thanks that you asked me. I'll put it now here in my PPT for the next training.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, Nashra.
Yeah, hi, Joy. So my question is regarding the topic selection. So as you mentioned earlier that we may have a diversified set of audience, coming from different backgrounds of different age groups. So suppose if I select a personal incident of my life as like a personal story that I would like to give a speech on, but how do I make sure that the audience connect with that story? Because there could be a possibility where not everyone is not of my age group, or how do they connect with my story? How do I make sure of that part?
Okay, I've had this trouble a lot of times because I am one of those guys who's judging I've stopped judging this year completely. थक गया हूं मैं judging कर करके. So what happens is I was hearing a speech in which someone came and started speaking on Harry Potter. And I'm one of those guys जो टीवी नहीं देखता है, न्यूज नहीं देखता है, मूवीज नहीं देखता है, क्रिकेट नहीं देखता है, म्यूजिक नहीं सुनता है. I don't do any of these. So if you come and give me Harry Potter, I'm like क्या चल रहा है? I was clueless what's Harry Potter. वो कुछ की उसमें, and then they said winter is coming and they use all the funny anecdotes. कुछ बोलते हैं ना डायलॉग उसके एंड में वो नीचे लिखते हैं. I'm clueless as a judge what is happening. So you might think I'm outdated, but I didn't connect with it at all. Now if you pick up a niche topic, usually कुछ आपकी personal preferences वाले जब topic pick up करते हो ना, तो there will be some sect of the audience who will not understand it. For example, हमारे पास age का गैप बहुत बड़ा है. 18 से लेके हम 60 तक जाते हैं. There are a lot of topics which will connect with senior folks. जैसे अमिताभ बोला था, all senior folks would have connected, and young folks is कौन है बुढ़ा? They might have said that because it's Amitabh, they will not say. And there are some examples which only the young folks till 2024 can understand. जो आप social media के jargons और slangs use करते हो, हम बुड्ढों के साथ connect नहीं होते हैं. ROLF सीखने के लिए मुझे 2 साल लगे थे. ROLF मुझे नहीं पता था because I'm not a social media buff. I don't do stuff. I only read books. There are more than 1000 books over here. I've read them. So this is what I do because I deal with people. I don't fill myself with junk. So मेरे घर में टीवी तक नहीं है. आप मेरे पास आओगे तो बोलोगे कौन है ये आदमी, कहाँ से पैदा हुआ है? I'm a very boring human being, seriously. So Nashra, the only suggestion I have is you will have to understand कि आप niche मत means specific जो होते हैं ना niche आपकी फाइन चॉइसेस वाले टॉपिक पिक मत कीजिए. वो यूजुअली हर एक के साथ नहीं जाते हैं. एंड देयर आर लॉट ऑफ यूनिवर्सल टॉपिक्स और यूनिवर्सल प्रॉब्लम्स व्हिच यू कैन पिक अप फ्रॉम योर ओन स्टोरीज. समथिंग व्हिच यू एज अ वुमन और यू एज अ गर्ल और यू एज अ मॉम और you as a daughter or you as a sister or you as a corporate employee or you as a Mumbaikar. These are all general topics because everybody has either a Mumbaikar around them or a daughter or a mother or a sister or a wife or a girlfriend or someone around them. So you will have to understand sensitively कि मेरा ऐसा कौन सा रूप है जो बाकी सारे लोग आराम से देख सकते हैं. And if you pick up a story from there, that person side of your life, it is amazing. I'll give you a classic example. I still remember this lady. She is a girl and उसने ISC में अपनी स्पीच दी थी हर फर्स्ट ड्राइविंग का. उसने ड्राइविंग की और उसकी कार में स्क्रैचेस लगे. मुझे आज तक उसकी स्पीच याद है. उसकी कार का कलर था ब्लैक और उसके हस्बैंड का एक्सप्रेशन जो उसने दिखाया था वो भी याद है. और ये उसने स्पीच 5 साल पहले HSBC में दी थी. because it hit me over here. She said, I'm a girl and people, everybody is looking at me कि मैं BMW चला रही हूँ. She comes from a nice HSBC, समझ जाओ. And मैं जब कार चला, हर कोई मुझे देख रहा था कि लड़की BMW अच्छी थू. And she was shaky. And उसने वो एक्सप्रेशन करके पूरा बताया. मुझे आज तक स्टोरी याद है 5 साल पुरानी वाली. I have forgotten half of the stories of eloquence as a judge, but मुझे वहां की स्टोरी अभी तक उस क्लब की स्टोरी याद है. I connected with it because when I was teaching my wife how to drive a car, she would do exactly the same. And मेरी कार में 4 डेंट्स लगे हुए उसकी वजह से. धीरे बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि बाजू के कमरे में पीटेगी आके. So I instantly connected with it. It just happened. So nervous car driver. It's a very powerful story. आप कुछ भी ले सकते हो, but कुछ ऐसा लो जो सबके साथ easily connect हो जाए. It really works. So you will have to work with your mentor in that. And if you are still having trouble, please connect. I'll help you. आप सब, all of you who are on this call, any trouble मेरे साथ connect कर लो. एक please message कर देना. Come and I'm okay to discuss. So पूरी speech mentor नहीं करूँगा. December 31st हो गया है. So I'll help you in bits and pieces if you guys want. Okay, thank you. Anybody has any other question? We have Pratibha. And I think that's the last question. Oh Lord, we are at 10 already. I'm sorry for that. जी Pratibha. आप mute पे हैं Pratibha.
Thanks a lot for that interesting thing. I want to know more about online delivery and how many times the punchline should be included. Is it required?
Okay, इसका कोई सेट फॉर्मूला नहीं है, बट अगर यूजुअली स्टैंडर्ड गोल्ड लाइन जो मैं अपने सारे मेंटीज को देता हूं, अगर मैं मैसेज पढ़ने लग गया था, आई एम सॉरी आई गॉट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड. अगर आप अपनी पूरी स्टोरी में एटलीस्ट 2 से 3 बार, एक बार ओपनिंग में डायरेक्ट पंच आपको बोलना नहीं है, बट समझाना है लोगों को. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, टाइम एंड टाइड वेट फॉर नॉन एक पंच लाइन है आपका, पर आप ओपनिंग में इसको कैसे बोलोगे? आई विश आई न्यू द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ टाइम व्हेन आई वाज अ किड, but I was one of those guys who was just lay on the back and say, let the life come, I'll see. And then I messed up my entire life. अब सबको समझ में आ गया कि मैं टाइम मैनेजमेंट बात कर रहा हूं, पर मैंने पंच लाइन दी नहीं है. तो ओपनिंग में आप इस तरीके से ओपनिंग करोगे कि पंच लाइन बोलोगे पर बोलोगे नहीं. अपनी स्टोरी में आप पंच लाइन यूज कर सकते हो, एंड इट इज वेरी गुड इफ यू कैन यूज इट. इफ यू लिसन टू एनी ऑफ माई स्पीचेस, आई गिव अ 360 डिग्री स्पीच. आई फिनिश माई स्पीच एग्जैक्टली वेयर आई स्टार्टेड. तो मैं डोरबेल बजाते हुए स्टार्ट होती है स्पीच, और डोरबेल बजाने पे खत्म भी होती है मेरी स्पीच. और मैं कार का दरवाजा खोल के अंदर घुस रहा हूँ और वो कार का दरवाजा खोल के बाहर निकल रहा हूँ, ऐसी होती है मेरी स्पीचेस. थोड़ी सी पागलपंती होती है. तो यू कैन यूज दैट फॉर्मूला प्रतिभा. सो पंच लाइन्स 2 से 3 बार आप बोलोगे तो अच्छा. बार बार बोलते रहोगे तो लोगों को लग रहा है कि नर्सरी टीचर आ गई है और वो हमको रट्टा मरवा रही है. वो मत कीजिए. एंड ज्यादा ओवर सस्पेंस होल्ड करके सिर्फ एंड में एक ही बार बोलोगे तो लोगों को कई बार समझ में नहीं आता है, इफ इट्स नॉट क्रिस्टल क्लियर. So if it is a little diluted central idea, it's not a very kadak central idea. Please remember, my mentor told me one thing. If you can tell me your central idea in less than 10 words, you have a strong central idea. अगर आप 10 words में अपना मुझे central idea नहीं दे पाए तो आपका central idea कड़क नहीं है. और अगर आपका central idea 10 words से ज्यादा है तो उसको 3-4 बार जरूर बोलिए. अगर 6 वर्ड के अंदर आप मुझे सेंट्रल आइडिया 7 वर्ड में अपना सेंट्रल आइडिया दे सकते हैं, तब आप एंड में भी एक बार बोलोगे तो लोगों को समझ में आएगा. And your speech title also should be a fine twist of your central idea. It should not be your central idea. Please, one humble request, अपना सेंट्रल आइडिया स्पीच टाइटल मत रखना. सस्पेंस वहीं खत्म हो जाता है. मूवी देखने की जरूरत ही नहीं. मैं बोलता है अरे यार ये तो स्पीच टाइटल था. 0 marks for creativity. Thanks Pratibha for that amazing question.
Yeah, and online delivery is different or what?
देखिए, ऑनलाइन डिलीवरी में फिलहाल बैठा हुआ हूँ यहाँ पे. सो ऑनलाइन डिलीवरी में बहुत रिस्ट्रिक्शन है. यू जस्ट हैव टू बी गुड विद योर अपर बॉडी. नीचे आप चाहे शॉर्ट पहन के बैठे रहो. फिलहाल मैंने पजामा पहना हुआ है तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. इफ यू वांट टू स्टैंड एंड डिलीवर, आई वुड यूजुअली सजेस्ट पीपल ड्यूरिंग ISA टू स्टैंड एंड डिलीवर. इफ यू आर वेरी कंपोज्ड एंड रेगुलर, जो काफी दिनों से स्पीचेस दे रहा है, यू कैन सिट एंड डिलीवर, नो प्रॉब्लम्स. बट यूजुअली ISA में इफ यू स्टैंड एंड डिलीवर इट्स गुड. अगर आप स्टैंड होंगे तो आपकी बेली के ऊपर वाला कैमरा ही आना चाहिए, उसके नीचे का नहीं. लोगों को आपको शूज और पैंट ट्राउजर दिखाने की जरूरत नहीं है. एंड देन यू नीड टू नो दैट यू कैनॉट मूव अ लॉट. सो द मूवमेंट जस्ट हैव टू हैपन विद योर हैंड्स, with your face only. You can't move and change sides and directions मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड बैकवर्ड इन एन ऑनलाइन स्टेज, आप नहीं कर पाओगे. सो आप मेरे मेंटीज को मैं स्मार्टली देता हूँ, सेल्यूटेप लेके व्हाइट पेपर के साथ मैं उनको क्रॉस मार्क कर देता हूँ. तो वो स्टोरी बोलते वक्त यहाँ से शुरू, यूजुअली यहाँ से शुरू करेंगे, मेरे मेंटीज का ट्रिक देता हूँ, और धीरे से उनको नीचे मार्क रहता है, नीचे देखे बिना वो दिख जाता है, तो उसके ऊपर जाके खड़े हो जाते हैं और बोलते हैं, फिर धीरे धीरे दूसरे वाले मार्क के ऊपर आ जाते हैं, फिर कंक्लूजन करते समय फिर सेंटर में आ जाते हैं. सो यू कैन स्मार्टली डू दैट. आई कोरियोग्राफ माय मेंटीज वेरी वेल, ईच वन ऑफ देम, इवन ऑनलाइन. सो यू कैन डू दैट.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, God bless you. आप सोच रहे होगे कि ये क्या क्या करवाता है अपने मेंटी से. थैंक गॉड वी आर नॉट हिज मेंटी.
I am going to request for mentee.
I already have 24 mentees. प्लीज ये सवाल मत पूछो मुझसे. उसमें से 12 से 13 जबरदस्ती वाले हैं.
एक और सही.
No worries, ठीक है प्रतिभा जी. Okay, since you asked me, done.
Thank you.
बाकी सब अभी प्लीज जेलस मत फील करो. विशाल is like, oh Lord. ठीक है चलो, thank you. I'll hand it over back to Vrinda. Vrinda, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. So guys, if you want to win ISC contest, पता है ना किसको किससे कनेक्ट करना है. घर की डोरबेल बजाओ, फोन रिंग करो, no problem. So on behalf of the Scintillating Saturday team, I want to thank you for your intuitive presentation. The presentation which you gave today was really subjective and informative. Toastmasters definitely got a lot of information and inspiration from you. Writing speech is an art and a craft that needs to be developed through deliberate practice and study over a long period of time. So keep writing, keep practicing. Now I would like to hand over the stage to our program quality chair, Toastmaster Sudha, to felicitate our educational speaker and the role players. Over to you, Sudha.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vrinda, and thank you, Joy, for such an enlightening session, and that too with sprinkled with so much humor and simplicity that we all absorbed it like a glass of milk just before we go to sleep. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for sharing all your tips. We are all going to be your mentees, so you can add another 27 to your 24. And let's see what our divisional director will say about that. I'm sure he will support that initiative that you can also mentee us. Anyway, thanks so much, everyone, to be present for this Scintillating Saturday edition at 10 o'clock in the night. That shows how passionate Toastmasters we have around us. Thank you. And now let us just have a small moment of felicitation for the speaker himself. So I would like to hand the stage over to our divisional director to do the honors and also say a few words and pass on the awards to the people as well. Over to you, Toastmaster Monish, the Khandeya Division Director.
Thank you, Sudha. As I say, in last, we just have time to say goodbye. But distinguished Toastmaster Joy, today you reminded me of that sauce ad again. It's different. You had definitely a different take on how I see content that we hear about to go about the contest. So thanks for that. Such a wonderful session, and it was really one worthwhile session to attend. And I'm going to distribute the recording as well of this session. Thank you. I will request now Zoom Master to quickly share the screen so that we can. Thank you, Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Joy, for that wonderful session. Can you just spotlight Joy and have a snap? Please accept this appreciation certificate.
Just give me a second.
Hey, thanks a lot. You guys are amazing audience, seriously.
Done.
Thank you. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So we had the man behind the screen, behind spotlighting everyone, and part of distinguished Toastmaster Joy's speech, Akshay. Can we spotlight Akshay? Vrinda, just let us know when you have done with this.
Yes, done. Wait, I'll take with Akshay. It was with
Okay.
both of them. I'll take separate with Akshay. Done.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next slide. Then we have our MOC of the day, Toastmaster Vrinda. Can you spotlight yourself and take a photo?
Akshay, can you spotlight me? No. I feel special. Done.
Thank you. You can stop the screen share, and thank you everybody for joining in today for a wonderful session. I officially called the meeting.
Thank you, everyone.